men don't want to date another man, and a woman doesn't actually want to date a woman. I mean, you know what I mean? In that kind of box that we're talking about. But it reminds me, I did this one TikTok video that I got basically ripped a new asshole for, because all of the feminists came at me all at one time. They all swarmed to this one TikTok video. And it was basically like, how to please a man, how to be feminine so that your man can be masculine. And all of these women were just like, fuck that.
Feminists came after her after she posted this TikTok video. Men don't want another man in the house. Welcome to Manosphere Highlights Daily. For this video, we're going back to Will Nakusi's podcast. Link is in the description. Keep up the good work, brother. Katie Callie made a TikTok video that triggered feminists, and we're going to show you that clip. But before we get into that TikTok video, we're going to start from the beginning of the podcast so you understand the full picture of her TikTok video argument. Will Nakusi is going to explain the topic of his podcast.
So she said that my opinion on going half on bills. So half ain't the problem. Half and a housewife is the problem. If I work 40 hours a week just like you, but you expect dinner on the table, the house to be clean, laundry done, and the kids to be settled, that's where the problem is. If you're going to be equally yoked, it's going to be that way across the board. But don't bring me $600 for your half of rent when you ain't half did shit all week but work, because I did that as well. And if cooking, cleaning, and maintaining functionality was so easy, why you ain't help do it? All right.
Now that we know the topic of the podcast, we're going to listen to what Katie has to say about it.
Now it's time for us to dive into this and do what we have to do. Because we men, ain't we? We men, ain't we?
Kate, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts about this, Kate?
So I have some pretty radically different thoughts on this. I actually am extremely uninterested in the fact of like if a man should be cooking or cleaning. That's actually quite a boring topic to me. Sure, a man could cook and a man could clean, and a woman could cook and a woman could clean. I mean, I think that like the realm of talking about gender roles is useless in a group discussion, because that's something that should be decided upon in a relationship and in partnership. However, what I do find to be extremely interested is the way that woman communicated that. Because you can only imagine if she's using that language to communicate something that she feels frustrated about, and she's using that kind of diminishing language on social media, I can only fucking imagine how she treats her man at home.
Slow clap. The underlying message, the tip of the iceberg, represents only a small and accessible aspect of a larger domain of unconscious psychological functioning. We all need to eat, and if you want to live a certain lifestyle in modern society, you'll both have to work. So communication is essential, and this is something that is overlooked when you read messages like this. The hostility, the combativeness, the negative energy that modern women bring to the table. I'm going to let her speak for a moment, almost 2 minutes, because she's going to mention something that is basically the reason why modern relationships fail. Check this out.
That's a good point.
I did a Instagram story, I think it was the other day, on this topic, where I consistently see in relationships almost like a not a role reversal, but a masculine feminine dynamic reversal. And I'm talking about not man woman, but I'm talking about like a divine feminine, a female being who's in her divine feminine is going to be more in the role of receiving. She's going to be nourished by that. And a masculine being is going to be more in the role of stillness and in presence. And what happens so much that I see in relationships, why relationships are unhappy and failing, or you're staying in it and you're miserable, is because the female is showing up in her wounded masculine. She's showing up in her wounded feminine. And it fucking sucks, because what happens is it literally castrates the man, where he feels diminished and he feels demasculated, and he's not in his masculine power. But we as women, we want to be in our feminine. Like, we want to be ravished. We want to be taken care of. We want to be we can go on a whole topic down that of what it is that we really desire. But the way that we're going after so many women is through nagging. And it's through social media like that. It's through communication that literally, like I said, it castrates the man. It literally is taking his masculinity away from him. And then the women are bitching, oh, the men aren't doing this, the men aren't doing that. I think it's actually, there's a lack of responsibility. Men and women can both cook. That's not interesting to me. That's my opinion.
The dilemma that modern women face is that they want to feel feminine and strong by the feminist standard. Cooking and cleaning is something that you will have to do regardless, but cooking and cleaning for your man is considered weak. But you still expect a man to take you out on dates and pay. No romance without finance. You still expect a man to make more money than you do and expect to pick up the slack when you decide to quit your job or want to work part-time. You still expect a man to do the heavy lifting. You still expect a man to treat you like a lady even though you are acting like a man. You feel like a man because you're constantly operating in your masculinity, and it's making you unhappy. When you look at the full stream, you'll see two younger women on the panel and they look a bit surprised and confused with what Katie is saying, because this is a perspective that is not discussed in the sisterhood and mainstream media. Now Katie is going to say something really interesting. Pay attention.
The men want to feel masculine and the women want to feel feminine. And it's less about a woman feeling feminine by cooking and cleaning, but it's more about a woman really being in her feminine. Because when she's really in her feminine, it's such a juicy, like round, wonderful, yummy experience. And it's more of I think it's more of an emotional state that actually serves the masculine, right? Like it's more of, and since we're allowed to be very blunt on this podcast, it actually comes down to like how much like does the woman really like worship a man's cock? That's going to put a man in his masculine way more than if she's going to fucking cook in the kitchen. Because if she doesn't want to be cooking in the kitchen because she doesn't like cooking, then she's going to turn into a needy bitch because she's going to get resentful. But let's say she loves giving head and she wants to worship a man in that way and she wants to express her feminine in other ways. That man's going to walk out every day going to work feeling like the fucking man, and he's going to love it. And it creates this polarity dynamic in a relationship where there's better sex, there's more fulfillment, there's more polarity.
This is what I'm talking about. If you don't want to cook, what else are you going to bring to the table that's worth having? This is how you negotiate. Instead of nagging all the time like these WNBA players, bring value and make it interesting. We've made a video about a woman asking Esther Perel a question about how she can balance her feminine and masculine energy, because when she comes home from work, she's not interested in sex and her boyfriend is not attracted to her because she's in her masculinity. And a lot of women are dealing with this, and it's not making it interesting to cohabitate with a woman, and to take it a step further, having a relationship with a woman. Too much drama. Now let's get into that TikTok video.
Men don't want to date another man, and a woman doesn't actually want to date a woman. I mean, you know what I mean? In that kind of box that we're talking about. But it reminds me, I did this one TikTok video that I got basically ripped a new asshole for, because all of the feminists came at me all at one time. They all swarmed to this one TikTok video. And it was basically like, how to please a man, how to be feminine so that your man can be masculine. And all of these women were just like, fuck that. We need to be equals. Strong men like strong women. I was like, no.
So we found that TikTok video. Check this out.
Sometimes strong men like to be in the presence of a fully embodied feminine essence so that they can witness the beauty and the chaos of experiencing everything in life all at once. And that increases polarity, which makes for really good sex.
It's not what she's saying, but it's the text that's triggering women. Strong men don't want strong women. That's false. We want women to be strong. We just don't want women to be like men. And that's what she's talking about. Polarity. I'm attracted to a woman because she's not like me, because she's not like a man. And in this TikTok video, she gives a good example of what men are naturally attracted to.
Ladies, I have one thing that will make you irresistible to all men. Men, make sure you follow me because I have one thing that will make you irresistible to all women coming next. Ladies, this is a power pose. Men don't want that. If you want to be irresistible, it's all about the asymmetry. A man's reptilian brain unconsciously registers asymmetry as attractive, intriguing, and mysterious. This could be a tilt in your head, a raise of your shoulder, one hand on your hip. I know it sounds totally crazy, but it works because you can't actually fight your human neurology. So go off and try it and let me know in the comments what you think.
Strong men don't want strong women. And it's not that the woman has to be weak, because being in your feminine, being receptive is magnetic. It's powerful. It's just a different type of power than the world is used to seeing. We're used to seeing men power, which is great. That's a beautiful kind of power as well. But there's a more covert, quiet power that the female has when she drops into her feminine, and going back to that original quote that you wrote, there's such a different way that she could have communicated that of like, can you just imagine if she goes to her man and she wants him to cook more because she doesn't like cooking. She's like, oh, baby, like, oh my gosh, I'm so fucking sick of cooking. And if we could order in, that would make me feel so hot and it would turn me on so much. While touching his arm. Like, what about that? What about being theatrical and like playing and inviting fun and polarity dynamics into the relationship rather than being righteous of like, I deserve this because of the rules.
Manosphere, we working. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.